Welcome to the Winsidr Film Room. This is our fifth installment, and we have a very special guest. We got the point guard, the WNBA champion, Chelsea Gray. She's a WNBA champion. She's entering her sixth year in the league, three-time All-Star. The 11th pick by the Connecticut Sun. A lot of people forget that she did play with the Connecticut Sun. Spoiler alert, we are bringing in at least one highlight from her Sundays. Honestly, Rachel, I don't know about you, but I'm really excited to have her on the show.
I love Chelsea Gray. Anytime we get to talk about Chelsea Gray, I'm excited.
There's not enough talk about Chelsea Gray. She's got ice in her veins. She has been deemed the captain by not only head coach Derek Fisher, but also by multiple players on this roster. It's continuously been a topic of discussion how this team is going to be built by Chelsea Gray. And if they're going to be a champion this year, it's going to be because Chelsea Gray really delivers. Talk to me about the sparks and why she's so important to this team.
I just think Chelsea Gray as an individual, we've talked a ton about her the last probably 3 years in particular. Entering her sixth season, I personally, I think I speak for a lot of people, feel like she's at that point where she's ready to take that next jump. Like she's at that all-star caliber, no doubt. We all can agree that we all agree that she has ice in her veins. We all have raved about her ability to put up just ridiculous numbers and bunches at times, and her ability to go off. But I think she's primed and ready at this point of her career from just an experience standpoint, a maturity standpoint, to then just elevate this to that one of the best players in the league caliber. And I just think her career has grown. She's really worked a lot individually on kind of her weaknesses and her strengths. And I think head coach Derek Fisher has played a pivotal role in that, at least the last couple of years. But I just think, I have to agree when we talk about Chelsea needing to kind of be that catalyst to take the Sparks to championship contention. She's been there, they've been there, they've done it. I think we all agree that the Sparks are probably, in that top three conversation of contention this year, but a lot of that it lays on Chelsea Gray's back. And we've heard numerous comments made by the Sparks organization in the last, probably year and a half about kind of I say pressure, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but just putting this team on her back and giving her the keys to the Corvette and telling her, hey, let's go. This is your team. And that confidence in her has continued to grow. And I think we're going to have a breakout year, even more of a breakout year than what we've seen from her in the past.
Well, and I'll build on that and just say, if there's a player who wants that pressure, who can handle that pressure, it's Chelsea Gray. She's got ice in her veins. She's made a name for herself as a last second shot maker. She's made a name for herself for her no-look passes. She's made a name for her three-point shot. But she's a complete player that honestly, point guards rarely get the MVP nod in this league. If there's a player on this team that gets it this season, I'm putting my money down. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'll put a bet down in Vegas. It's Chelsea Gray. I know the bigs like to get a lot more attention in this league, but I think we might see a resurgence and just a crazy season by her. Just the buildup of this roster, I feel like, is slightly built better for her to excel and for her to take on that leadership role in many ways. And I'm excited. I got them as a top three team too.
Yeah, I agree. I think what makes Chelsea Gray so just unique, if you will, and since so fascinating to watch as a fan and as an analyst is – not just her ability to create for her teammates and her understanding and the no-look passes and the flash and everything that she, is about that way. It's also the 6 inches between her ears, wanting the ball in crunch time. When everything's on the line, she wants the ball in her hands. She wants to go to work. She wants to be the one to take that shot. And that is any coach, any player, anyone who's been around the game will tell you how unique and how special that is to have a player like that who, some people shy away in those moments. Some people cower in those moments. Those high pressure situations. Not only does Chelsea Gray want those situations, she thrives in those situations. She can create in those situations, not just for her teammates, but she can create for herself. So she's a major threat in this league. And I've enjoyed really watching her, at least the last probably 3 years, especially with LA. It's been phenomenal.
All right. Chelsea, welcome to the show. I got a few questions before we dive into the film, which I know the fans are excited for. I got to ask, the WNBA season tips off in a few days. How's life in the Wubble or the bubble or whatever they're calling it?
It's good, trying to figure everything out. I'm excited because I'm able to cook and stuff. So that was made me a little nervous, but it's been good. I've been able to be at the pool, spend time with my teammates. So it's been good so far.
That's awesome. So there's been a lot of talk over the years. I've been following you guys very closely, and your teammates, Nneka and Candace, have gone on and on about how it's your team and it's going to be your growth. And I'm pretty sure I heard a quote from Derek about how this is your team. So I'm curious, you're at the point in your career where taking the next steps and taking over this team are going to be pivotal for this success. How have you prepared for that role during the offseason going into this season?
I think just one, taking care of my body, being able to be, it's going to be hard to, mimic game shape, but trying to be in the best shape possible, understanding what to put in my body to get the best result, but also mentally just thinking about the game, understanding, having conversations, reading, even watching old film has been important. I've put on old games, just, watch to get familiar again, to, get acclimated again. So having those conversations as well is extremely important when we haven't been able to, really get on the court. But just understanding my voice, commanding, coming into that leadership role.
You talk about old film. That's funny that you said that. We're actually going to throw in a couple clips from your younger years at Connecticut. But before we do that, we talk a lot about your flash. We talk a lot about these no-look passes. We talk a lot about your buzzer beater type mentality that you have. Real quickly, as you were growing up and as you were kind of growing as a young player, who were some players that you kind of looked up at as a role model, if you will? I mean, I've heard that Magic and Tisha Panachero are two, but why is that?
I love the way and the ability that they're able to pass, man. It's something special. And I love the creation of it and how you're coming down the court and everybody in the arena thinks it's going one way and you do the opposite. I think there's something just powerful about it, and be able, I mean, people always ask me, like, how did you see that? I'm like, I have no idea. It just kind of came, I think it was a gift. But able to see things developing and things happening ahead of time and not right when it happens, like happening like a second, 2 seconds right before it actually comes. I think it's what makes it great. And being able to see, growing up in California, in Northern California, being able to see Tisha Panachero live and, win at the highest level and, win a championship in Sacramento. And also seeing Magic, on the men's side, being able to do that and, create those multiple championships and being a part of a team that had great players, but also he's able to do his thing, get his numbers and, really have that flash ability. It also hurts me sometimes. It's like, I see it and I have to go for it, even though it's the probability that it's going to be a turnover is probably a little higher than I want it to be. So, but, really creating the balance of that is, come with my growth the recent years.
Well, let's jump into some of these phenomenal assists that you have made throughout the course of your career. And for those of you who are new to the Winsidr Film Study, Chelsea's going to take us through just some of her plays, some of her assists. As we're going through some of this film, Chelsea, just feel free to let the viewers listen and just kind of hear your mentality as you expand on kind of what you just talked about. These first few clips are going to be just straight up assist. Apologize, this one's a little bit rough. But we got
I saw like Shanae, is that Shanae? Yes, shrieking down right before it happens, and me just taking a peek at TRP just changed. The defense, the defense like just froze for a second. You see McBride just freeze, and then I'm able to go. Just one like a half a second happened. I know my ability to be able to just do it with your eyes. And then, bam, Shanae cuts down the lane. So that was a good one right there.
Well, that's a big question for me as we go through some of these, where your eyes are going. It's kind of like a quarterback, if you will. I mean, it's really that much of a detail that makes the difference.
I think eyes, I think body gestures, my whole demeanor and my face is going, like, there's no doubt that I'm going to TRP. And then just at the last second, your wrist just change and it goes to another person. I think that's what the beauty of the entire play and having it develop like Oh, I think I just put a little extra on that because she was open a little bit sooner than I had planned. Like she was open a lot earlier. I just made a little bit of flash on that one. I don't know.
Did you play football growing up or like dodgeball
I
or
did.
something?
I had brothers, so they made me play football and dodgeball all the time. So it was fun. This is one of my favorite passes actually, because and it's two parts, right? If we can rewind it. It's two parts, right? The first part is in the open court. I love open court passes. But the second part of it is, Elena understanding like my passing ability and that she was going to get open. And I knew she was going to cut. And I had an option of whether, I'm either going to fall and just let it go, or I'm going to have to pick it up and probably create a turnover anyway. So I was just like, at least something positive can maybe come out of this. And that's what makes me happy about that play is, it's in the open court. You can go ahead and run it.
Well, I do have a question. So at what point did you know it was going to her in this play? You saw her streaking down the side, but at what point did you know?
Once she hit the 3-point, once she hit the 3-point line about there, she's going to cut. Kayla McBride is only looking at me. So once she's great at cutting. So once I saw that, it was done. And I was already on my way down falling, so it was fine.
All right, another one. We got another no-look cutter. You love these no-look passes. It's like you have eyes on the back of your head. It's crazy.
That was almost a turnover. I maybe could have done it a little bit earlier because Natasha Howard, her length, I probably could have got right there. Like it would have been easier. But because I wanted to do a little bit more, but I recognized there was two on me and Candace hadn't come into play yet. And it was great for NECA to kind of veer out to the corner to kind of create that lane, create that space for Candace streaking down the court. Because that's if NECA stays at the block, that pass isn't open. Candace has to stop. But she comes streaking down the court because NECA keeps on coming and going to the corner, which was perfect.
So you're trying to draw these two defenders, and then you understand that you've still got a man trailing and that trail should be open, right?
Yeah, it should be open. She could even stop for the three, but the fact that she's able to, keep streaking down the court, just a half a second later, I think Natasha Howard would have got her hand on it.
You've kind of touched on this, but I'm curious, how much of it mentally, like, I'm going to look here to lead the defensive way, but I know I'm going here?
It's extremely important. That's the first thing I tell my teammates. Like, even though I'm not looking at you, does not mean I do not see it. And I think that's an important thing as a point guard to communicate how you pass, how you see different things. So I always tell people that haven't played with me before that if I'm not looking at you, doesn't mean I don't see it.
Have you, like, by accident hit your teammate in the face with the ball?
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't think anybody now, like Candace or NECA, I think are just know about it now, like it's going to happen, but I've done it before for sure.
Well, we're going to take it back to some Connecticut days. And
wow.
I love this play because, like, you're in the post, like you're backing it down, you're drawing that defense and just an easy dump down pass. But talk us through this a little bit.
Dang, post and the double. The double always happens, and Elizabeth, like we played together at Duke, and she cuts off the ball, great hands as well. So her ability to get behind the defense is super important because she loses. If you pause right there, she's about to come, and she loses sight of her right away. And Elizabeth makes a great cut to be able to get it to her.
So that's just simple. I mean, was the scouting report that they were going to trap you or double you down in the post, or was that just
I don't think that was a scouting report. I don't really know. You went far back here with the clips and in the Connecticut jersey, so trying to figure that out. But yeah, that was a great cut by Elizabeth.
I'm just trying to get more clips of Chelsea Gray on the block. That's what All right, so now, well, this is going to replay about 6 or 7 times. I don't know. Apparently, back in the day, they loved this clip. So we're going to get a few more looks at this.
Dang. Oh, yeah. I like the slow motion there.
And then we're going to segue into some of your scoring, which your scoring we could talk about at length. But a lot of this comes off of just reads and being able to create space, get your shot off. So just talk us through different reads, what you're seeing in some of this action. This is just kind of a quick corner three, hand in your face. How much do you practice shooting with a hand in your face?
A lot actually. I think there's a limited times in which you just have a wide open shot, right? People are going to have to make shots with hands in their face with a little bit of a contest. You want to limit the amount of times that you take shots with hands in your face ultimately. But I think it's important to be able to practice that while having a hand in your face and being able to have that same, same form, same release, same jump, everything, it becomes a habit. And so offensively, having that on the 3-point line is extremely important. I think this game, though, I was feeling it a little bit. So some of the, like that shot right there, that probably wasn't the greatest shot, but I mean, there's 5 seconds on the shot clock. So
I mean,
it wasn't terrible, but I was kind of feeling it this day.
let's just talk about your range real quick. I mean, at what point in your career did you start really increasing just the depth in which you were able to shoot?
Well, I actually think it was starting in high school. Like my coach in high school really challenged us to shoot the three and being able to shoot the three at a high percentage, but also back it up. So if you're not right on the 3-point line all the time. I think it's important, but just being able to have that practice, I think overseas really helps in being able to practice that way and getting more shots up. Because during the season, it's hard. You want to rest your body and things like that.
A lot of your shots coming off ball screen action. What's the read? I mean, a lot of times your man gets hung up on a ball screen, and that just creates a ton of space. That defender doesn't come up. And I mean, is that just what you're hunting constantly to get that shot off?
I think I read a few things. First, I read how close my defender is and the angle of the screen. But I also, right there, if you pause it, that you can see Nneka's post player is back, right? I could either pull up for that three or I can drag her out a little bit to the corner to be able to create a passing angle for Nneka. So sometimes I'm reading that, but I'm also reading Candace Dupree. And I'm also reading the backside. Like you have, after a pick and roll, people are going to come over because for a second, sometimes there's two on the ball. So for a split second, how fast can you make a decision? You have 2 seconds. Sometimes you drag it out. And just on this particular possession, I felt that she was a little far to be able to close out to me. And we actually got an and one because Nneka was trying to roll down the lane at the same time that I was shooting. So it was perfect timing.
What's your preferred spot behind the arc to shoot from? Because, I mean, you're all over there.
Yeah, it's actually on the left, more on the left side of the middle. So if I'm facing the basket, it's got to be on the left just a little bit. That's my favorite spot, actually.
Kind of this one right here. That's a good segue into this next clip.
Yeah, see that right there, that spot, I love that spot. Even on the wing a little bit more, but more so on the left for me. And that's a perfect angle. I mean, I think like I said, I was feeling it right there because I probably could have penetrated the lane even more, especially this one. It's early in the shot clock.
I mean, that shot's just ridiculous. I mean, you were just feeling it, right? So you've got the green.
Yeah, I hit a couple in a row. So, it was kind of a heat check, but at the same time, she went under the screen after I just hit a couple. So
I just love how before it drops, you're already running back to that's the swag that I love to see. It's in, you're like, all right, let's get back to defense.
That was part of the feeling and mechanics, right? Having that, that repeating that action all the time.
And that's just rude.
Yeah.
Oh, and you did it right in front of their mascot too. I mean, come on.
But once again, right on that left side, I love it.
Oh, you might have given away your secret. I don't know.
Man, don't put this out.
Yeah, we'll bleep this part out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I know we got to get going, but I did have a few rapid fire questions after this one real quick because I just loved that one.
Yeah, that was a good one. I told Elena at that point, I was like, hey, just come off me. She's like, what play are we running? And I was like, just come off me. Came off of me, and then I made the back. She was like, okay.
All right, I see you. All right, well, a couple rapid fire questions. Just first thing that comes to your mind when I say this, what part of your game goes most unnoticed?
My charge-taking ability.
Ooh, okay. What do you think is your biggest weakness? What do you want to grow in?
I would say Defensively, I think I could always get better, but also understanding to pick my points for turnovers. I definitely want to decrease my
All right.
assist to turnover ratio.
That's legit. What is the toughest team to scout for you personally?
Maybe Seattle, because they can put people in different positions. You can, similar to us, they have, Stewie being able to bring up the ball, but we have Candace to bring up the ball. So how do you scout for those different things? I think Seattle, I would say, is a tougher one.
Perfect timing, because we're getting the signal that we got to go. But I have one last question. When I say overseas, what do you think of?
Overseas, I think of give me that money. I think of the country I've been playing in is in Turkey, but an enjoyable experience to be able to travel for sure too.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.